Hello, friends at St. Thomas Becket. I'm KJ Bohr, the Director of Communications and Program Development with Breaking Free. Breaking Free has been empowering survivors of prostitution and sex trafficking to build new lives through safe housing, direct services, support programs, survivor advocacy, worldwide policy change, and hope since 1996. We want to give you, the parishioners of St. Thomas Becket, a heartfelt thank you. Thank you to the confirmation students who thoughtfully packed 50 cosmetic bags with notes of encouragement and prayed over these gifts. Our participants' spirits were lifted by these gifts, and it let them know that they are loved and valued rather than isolated in the world. Thank you for offering love and hope and for making a difference in our clients' lives. Thank you also to the ministry that made the prayer shawls for our Sisters of Survival graduates at Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. When we wrap those shawls around their shoulders, it seals the hard work that they put in to complete our program, and they experience being wrapped in a robe of righteousness. Thank you for giving them a hug from God that they can feel again by wrapping the shawl around themselves when times are tough. These gifts, your gifts, uplift the women in our program who have walked in darkness. And by seeing our participants the way that God sees them, as precious and honored in His sight, you show them that they are a part of your community with new possibilities and hope for the future. Thank you for your services to our participants. And we wish that you could come to our space to visit us, but because of the pandemic, it's not quite possible yet. So we wanted to come to you. Up next, you'll get an insider look at Breaking Free, see some of our space, and meet our amazing staff.
Hello, my name is Terry Folletti, and I am the Executive Director for Breaking Free in St. Paul, Minnesota. We are an organization that helps women and girls and sometimes boys and men to escape systems of sexual exploitation and help dissect the violence that they've had in their lives. We are a survivor-led organization. I was in the life for close to 30 years. Most of my staff was in the life. Our signature program is called Sisters of Survival. It's a 14-week course where we talk about the dynamics of power and control. We talk about how we got to where we are today, and then to ascertain where do we want to go from here. And we have an alumni program also, so we never stop being involved with each other in our lives. It becomes a family of survivors, a family of survivor leaders, a family of thrivers. That's our goal. And to help our clients achieve that goal, we have permanent supportive housing. We have 2 18-unit apartment buildings which serve 34 families, but we don't stop there because we know there's so many people without homes. So we also offer Section 8 certificates and have an MOU with an organization called Hearth Connection. If we find a landlord, we'll pay their rent, we'll get reimbursed. So for all intents and purposes, we support 54 families. But we also have our emergency shelter. We have a 4 private bedroom facility to help with safe harbor clients for youth as well as adults, to have that place to stay in between being on the streets and getting secure permanent supportive housing. And that's an opportunity where we can walk alongside clients and help them also to determine where do they want to go so that they can get to their next steps. In addition, we have a drop-in shelter that's open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We have 2 showers, we have several beds, jammies, food, and we have advocacy if people want them. But this is a place where not everybody's ready to get out of the life, or because of chemical dependency issues and or mental health issues, they're not at that place yet. So we welcome them with open arms to come to our drop-in shelter. If they want to talk to us, that's great. If they don't, if they just need a place to stay, that's also great. We can plant that seed, but we certainly don't put any expectations on any of our drop-in center clients. So in addition to the programs that we have at Breaking Free, we also work nationally and internationally. We recently did webinar with CAP International, which is operated out of Paris, France. And we were able to talk about the dynamics of the demand and how we tackle that and how we message those people that are buying sex, and how we've taken the shame but kept the accountability, and having that dialogue with people to affect change. There were 28 countries that were in attendance for that webinar, and we're going to continue to work worldwide to come alongside those other programs and other countries that might want to do the same thing. We also are very involved nationally with Shared Hope International, Worldwide We, Nicosi, Polaris, and other organizations that fight the good fight that we're fighting. So we have this network throughout the United States and the world, but then we're very involved with local activities, such as moving this movement forward through Safe Harbor for All, which has been accepted by the state of Minnesota, as well as the United States, that we don't arrest folks that have been sexually abused that are 18 and under. We're trying to move that for all people that were sexually exploited. We're working on that committee with other stakeholders in the community as well. The majority of our clients are people of color, so we try to provide culturally specific healing on site at Breaking Free. We have talk therapy, we have EMDR therapy. We also partner with Native American groups, African American groups, and Asian Women United for those clients that need and desire more culturally specific healing. So, in a nutshell, that's who we are. Thank you so much for joining us on Human Trafficking Awareness Day.
Breaking Free was founded in 1996, and we have been providing direct services, permanent supportive housing, and advocacy for those who have been commercially sexually exploited for 24 years. In fact, we were one of the first in the country to offer permanent supportive housing to survivors of sex trafficking and sexual exploitation.
Sexual exploitation is an umbrella term involving the abuse of power for sexual purposes, including sex trafficking, prostitution, strip clubs, webcam pornography, and sexual trauma and abuse. Commercial sexual exploitation is defined as the exchange of sex acts for anything of value. So that could be money, goods like expensive purses or clothing, or survival sex, which is a place to stay, food, or other basic needs that are given in exchange for sex. This is sometimes referred to as the life because it consumes a person and the way they engage in or hide from the world around them.
Yes, sex trafficking involves force, fraud, or coercion, and this happens when a victim is manipulated in some way into exchanging sex acts. This may or may not involve a third party who keeps the money or goods exchanged. According to Minnesota's Safe Harbor law, anyone under the age of 18 who is found to have exchanged sex is considered a trafficking victim and cannot be criminally charged, but must be given services. Those services are called No Wrong Door, and they are provided for victims up through 24 years old. We provide those services for all ages here at Breaking Free.
And we know that this is a lot of information, so we're excited to have you meet our staff and learn about what we do. And in the process, you'll learn more about commercial sexual exploitation.
Good morning. I'm here at Breaking Free, and I'm going to take you around, give you a tour of our beautiful space, and you can meet some of our staff. Here we go. Good morning, Tina.
How are you?
I'm great.
So I actually am a survivor myself, and when I was first trying to figure out what I was going to do when I got out of the life, I just searched organizations that help sex trafficked women on the internet, and Breaking Free was the first one that popped up. I asked about Speakers Bureau, and they were like, well, you have to go through SOS first before you can do Speakers Bureau. But it actually ended up being the best thing ever, because that's where I was able to learn about my exploitation, and that I was also a survivor and a victim, and that I was able to find a lot of healing in that. Well, it's actually really cool because being the receptionist, it may seem like I just just answer phones and, do the desk work, but I actually do a lot more than that. I also am the social media specialist, so it's been really fun to be able to not only welcome the women that we serve when they walk in, being able to help donors and get acquainted with them because our donors are truly our friends, but also being able to do social media and getting the word out about breaking free online. All of that has just been really fun and really inspiring for me.
My name is Tonique Eiler. I am the Housing Program Manager for Breaking Free. I first got involved with Breaking Free as a client, and I went to SOS, which is Sisters of Survival. I graduated from there, then I went on to Speakers Bureau. After Speakers Bureau, I started doing presentations, and then I got hired on as the housing advocate. Sisters of Survival is a 14-week curriculum which studies sex trafficking as a slave-based system, the impact it has on one's life, peers, and community. We also talk about addiction and recovery, work a little bit on mental health. We also work on relationships and boundaries and communication.
Can you think of a success story from the group?
Yes, I can think of one. She was court ordered to be here, so she did not want to be here at all until about the 4th module, where we discuss the impact it has on oneself, your children, your family, your peers, and the community. That's when it really hit home, and I could see the epiphany light bulb go off. And that's when she started to open up more and realize that she was a victim, and it was a choiceless choice.
Do you think there are people who come to SOS and just don't identify as being trafficked or having been sexually exploited?
Oh, yes. A lot of times the women blame themselves or think of it as that's what they chose to do. A lot of times I have women say that they felt empowered, that they were in charge because they were the ones getting paid to do it. But at the end of the day, you're still under control because you're doing things you wouldn't usually do for money.
Do you have like a favorite module that you like to go over? Is there something that stands out to you about the curriculum that you enjoy teaching?
My favorite module is Do You Want This Job? Because we really break down the aspects of it, like who's your manager, is there a 401k, is there OSHA, is there a union? Even though we all have transferable skills that we can use into our real lives and for job search, but when you're in the life, it's not a profession. It's not the oldest profession, it's the oldest oppression.
So I actually came through the program when I was 18, so 12 years ago. I was court ordered and I came through the SOS program and was able to get some information about what was going on with my situation as far as my trafficking. But then I actually came back into the program when I was 24. I was able to identify what was going on with me at the time of my trafficking and how I was victimized and taught the right language to use. For me, when I first got out of the life, it was easier for me to connect with people that have been through what I've been through because of all the judgment that comes along with being in the life. It's not a lot of places or people that understand it or are compassionate about it, so it was easier for me to connect with a survivor advocate. So some of the things I do would be like program intakes. We have a drop-in center where people can come in and shower and get rest. Just basic case management. Like this morning we went down to fill out some paperwork for housing for one of the clients that I'm working with. It's just really whatever they need, just cheering them on and just being an advocate for them. I have someone that I'm working with now that has been banned from majority of the Hennepin County programs and St. Paul programs too. And so there's not a lot of places that will accept her just to hang out because of the behavioral issues. One thing that I've been doing with her is kind of just meeting her where she's at and being a cheerleader for her. And one thing she always says is that she appreciates me treating her like a human being, because when she's out on the streets, people are taking advantage of her and treating her like crap. And even programs and even hospitals have discarded her, so she doesn't really have a lot of trust for programs and people in the program. So me being able to build that trust with her being one of our higher risk clients, has been a rewarding experience. Overall, housing is one of the biggest barriers for the ladies. And one of my biggest barriers is leaving at night knowing that one of my girls doesn't have a place to stay at night.
I manage the operation of our rental facilities, the grants, the leases, the 5 properties that we have all together, our Hearth Connection program, some of our Section 8 stuff. There's one particular client that is still in our housing program. She struggled for a long time about managing her own self-care, her unit, and my staff, Tonique and Ella, spent hours helping her revitalize her unit, getting it back to a manageable space. And since then, she has continued to care for herself, her unit. She has a much more positive attitude since then. So I think that is a huge success.
So with the support that she's received at Breaking Free, she's been able to really walk into more of the person she was really created to be.
Absolutely.
And living out a fuller life.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Wes.
You're welcome.
I am the Director of Client Services here at Breaking Free. So I oversee our emergency shelter that is just over a year old, and then our women's program here. Our emergency shelter, we have spots for 4 women and their children to work with them in moments of crisis and work towards finding them longer-term housing options. I will share the story of one of our lovely emergency shelter ladies. So we connected with this particular client doing late night outreach on Lake Street, and she came to the emergency shelter, stayed with us for about a couple weeks, maybe a month, and got into a chemical dependency treatment. She completed that, and upon leaving, reached back out and said, hey, I don't know what my next steps are. I really want to have my daughter back. She's out on the street now too, 17 years old. What do you guys have? And so she ended up coming back to the emergency shelter, and she got custody of the 17-year-old and who is staying with her now too there. And then just 2 weeks ago, she received a Section 8 voucher through us. She has 5 months sober now, and to look at her now, it's just night and day. She's put in all of the footwork, which has been a fun success to watch and work with, and
love hearing how our clients are getting the help they need to advance in their life, both for themselves and their children. We're actually changing generations. Last week, we had a kid who was raised in our Breaking Free housing, now grown up with his own business, come back and say hi. And he offered his business services to us and our clients. And it's just so wonderful to see something like that come full circle.